Almost slide up other people. Yeah.
All right. For those of you who don't know, my mom's in the hospital.
Oh, no.
She's had a rough go. Wednesday, they said she was. I got some kind of donut on my. I got donut on my glasses somehow.
That's exactly what's being good. Me, Brother Harold.
Missed my mouth by that far.
Now, no, I'm not gonna say it.
How'd I miss something that big? Uh,
You're gonna give all those the giggles, which better.
Yeah, I bought these glasses because they was fancy. I didn't know they were glazed. But mom's been doing pretty poorly, but she's been getting better each day, and she thinks she might go home tomorrow or Tuesday. So,
Okay.
I do covet your prayers for her, my sisters who are taking care of her. I'm here in Georgia, and they're all in St. Augustine. So, needless to say, I'm not doing much for her except for praying a lot. I do pray for her every day. But as I was studying through here in Genesis, Mr. Jimmy made a suggestion last week that we go back and review what we've already done because there's so much in it. But I'm not going to do that today. I may do that uh, in the near future. But today we're going to talk about Noah and the boat. Noah and the boat. We talked about that a little bit last week, and we're going to talk about it again. But as we get started, Mr. Tom, would you open us in prayer?
Father, thank you for the opportunity for us to fellowship, and try to learn more about the meaning of your word. We ask you to open our hearts and minds so that we can understand what we're hearing and reading. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Steve, calm down. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go back to Genesis chapter 7, verse 1. And I want to take turns and go ahead and read the entire 7 and 8. So if y'all will be patient with me, we'll read the entire 7 and 8, and then we'll go back and talk about it. Because it starts there, but today's discussion doesn't end until the end of 8. So I want to kind of cover all of that. So can I have someone that would read 7 verses 1 through 7?
And the Lord said to Noah, come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female. Also 7 each of the birds of the air, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of all of the earth. For after 7 more days, I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will destroy from the face of the earth all living things that I have made. And Noah did according to all that God commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. So Noah with his son's wife and sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean animals and animals that are unclean, birds and everything that creeps on the earth, 2 by 2, they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as God had commanded Noah.
Okay. Couple of highlights are there in verse 5. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. We're going to come back and talk about more of it in a minute when we get finished with 8. But someone else, would you read verses 10 through 20?
And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month. On that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and Noah's son Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and 3 wives of his sons with them entered the ark. They and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark 2 by 2, and all flesh in which is the breath of life. So those that entered, male and female, of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Now the flood was on the earth 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth. And the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered.
And all the flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of the spirit of life. All that was on the dry land died, so that he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping thing, bird of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive, and the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. Chapter 8. Then God remembered Noah and every living thing with him in the ark. And God made a wind pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heaven were also stopped, and the rain was restrained, and the waters receded continually from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the waters decreased. Then the ark rested on the 7th month, the 17th day of the month, on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. The 10th month, on the first day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen. So it came to pass at the end of 40 days that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. Then he sent out a raven, which kept going to and fro until the waters had dried up from the earth. He also sent out from himself a dove to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for the sole of her foot, and she returned into the ark to him. For the waters on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her and drew her into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent out the dove from the ark. Then the dove came to him in the evening, and behold, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in her mouth. And Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. So he waited another 7 days and sent out the dove, which did not return again to him anymore. Someone, if you would, read the rest of the chapter from 13 to the end of 22.
And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, that the waters were dried up from the earth. And Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and indeed the surface of the ground was dry. And in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dried. Then God spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife, and your sons wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds and cattle, and every creeping thing that creeps the earth, so that they may abound on the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him, every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, and whatever creeps on the earth according to their families went out of the ark. And this goes on to explain God's covenant with creation. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma, and the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, nor will I again destroy every little thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease.
Okay, this time period covered a little bit over a year, just these two chapters. Okay, so when we look at these two chapters, by the way, good morning, Miss Carol. Uh, as we look at these here two chapters, there's a couple of things that we can really draw from it that gives us a good understanding. First, how many people went on the ark?
7. No, wait a minute.
8.
8.
8.
Yeah, 8.
Moses and his wife.
Noah and his wife.
I was waiting to see if she's gonna catch me at that. Noah and his wife and their 3 sons and their wives. So that, 8 people went onto the ark to take care of all these animals. Now, everybody says the animals how many animals did he take on the ark?
It
But
says 2 by 2, but I have a question.
I got an answer.
Ed,
I got an answer. Could be, I don't know, but let's go for it.
are you sure you have an answer for this? Because when it says Noah made a burnt offering sacrifice, to the Lord because it smelled good to the Lord and it was what
Yeah.
he should have done. Didn't that take away some of the animals that he had in the ark?
I'm glad you said that. Now, let's go back over here to,
Yeah, that was rolling around in my mind like a marble.
okay,
All of verse, chapter 7, verse 2.
come on back and read verse 2 with us.
Just hang on.
Every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7, not by 2,
Every clean beast by 7.
and offering an unclean beast was not a proper sacrifice. So
He took
I suspect it was 7 because it took care of
the
one
offering.
of the sacrifice.
So why should these other chapters say he took 2 of everything? Now, as far as I'm concerned, he could have let the flies and the gnats and those aggravating things stay.
It says they went into the ark 2 by 2, but it doesn't say that there was only 2.
Yeah.
It
These are
says
what-
7.
Yeah,
Let's read 2, again. You shall take with you 7 of each clean animal, male and his female, 2 each of the animals that are
Wait a
unclean.
minute, where are you now?
Chapter 7, verse 2.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, you shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of the animals that are unclean, a male and his female. Right there.
Okay.
So,
So,
say a cow, he took 14 cows.
Huh?
That says 7 each of every clean animal, male and his female. So he took 7 males, say of a cow, and 7 females. So he had 14. They had to eat something while they were on the boat.
not necessarily.
Well, that's true.
Not necessarily, because God can do anything. Now, like I talked about last week, think of how much manure all these animals made on an ark. Now, because y'all were not here yesterday, last week, you missed this out. But the length of this ark, is 450 foot long. Now, 450 foot is a big boat, but it's not a giant boat. All right, we're talking about 4.5 football fields long. Okay,
One and a half.
Huh?
1.5, right? 1.5.
yeah, 1.5 football fields long. 300 is 100 yards. So we're talking about 1.5 football fields long. It was 75 foot wide. So we're talking about 3/4 of a football field long, wide, and it was 45 foot tall. So you think about all 2 of every kind of animal and 7 of every kind of clean animal. Okay, so we got male and female, male and female, male and female, and 1 extra. We got 7 total. So you got two of the unclean, like the pigs, male and a female, and then you got 7 of those. But we hadn't had permission yet to eat animals. Over here, he also was told to take food for them.
That's mentioned in, the latter part of verse 6, I think.
Yeah,
6, I think.
and you should have verse 21 of chapter 6. And you shall take food for yourself and all the food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to yourself, and it shall be food. We didn't have permission to eat animals yet. We were still vegetarians. That's why they were thin and could fit on this boat. But we were still vegetarians at that point. We had not been given permission to eat animals. We eat of the garden. Okay, so he took food for himself and his family. But nowhere in here doesn't say that he took enough food for all the animals. How much food would it take to feed all them animals for a year?
A lot.
Could you put that on one boat?
I don't think you could put it all in the back end of an 18-wheeler.
Okay, so now we take this point, we look at the Israelites walking in the desert, their shoes didn't wear out, neither did their clothes. Their sandals did not wear out in 40 years.
And they always had food.
And they always had food in the desert. Okay, struck a rock and got water. Manna rained down from heaven. God took care of what needed to be taken care of. Do you think that Noah went out and gathered all these animals up? God sent these animals to him. God sent these animals to Noah. He didn't have to go out and gather them. He had to build that ark. That's what he had to do. So God sent all the animals to him, and it was 2 of each unclean and 7 of all the clean, to include the birds, 7 each of the birds, here in verse 3, male and female, to keep the species alive. Okay, so when they get off the boat, they have one couple to make more pigs and other unclean animals. Split hooves. Okay. So they have one couple to replenish those. But on the clean animals, they have 7. They got 7 animals, so they got 3 couples to replenish it. And 1, if we turn over here to 20 on chapter 8, then Noah built an altar to the Lord. He took of every clean animal and every clean bird and offered burnt offerings on the altar. So now we have 3 couples left. He gave the burnt offering of that 7th one, that 7th critter. So now we have 3 couples left of the clean animals. 1 couple left of all the unclean. So here's when we think about it, I will also underline here, and I scribble in my books. Okay, I'm sorry I do. But in verse 11 of chapter 7, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month of the 17th day, that day the fountains broke and the water started. Okay, 2nd month of the 17th day. Okay, if we look at the calendar, the Hebrews, now, who wrote this book? Who wrote this book?
Hebrews.
Who? Who wrote it?
Moses.
Moses wrote this book. He was a Hebrew.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So the Hebrew calendar, the spiritual, the sacred things, they had 2 calendars. Their sacred things, their calendar started in our March, springtime. Not necessarily on 1 March like we have on our calendar, okay? But in the springtime, kind of March. That's when the sacred things starting. But their earthly affairs started in September, in the fall. Okay. I cannot tell you which one this is. Okay, I would suspect because it's the flood and the rehabilitation of the world that it's the spiritual things. And so the second month would have been April or April. So it would be starting in spring with the rain started. Then we come over here to chapter 8. (14), and it said in the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. So we went from the second month on the 17th day to the second month of the 27th day. Okay, so we've gone a whole year that this here took place. It rained for 40 days. There was a period of time that it didn't do nothing. The water sat and then let everybody die. And then the water started receding, and it took 150 days for it receding. And then the land had to dry out, and then he sent the dove out, and we had to wait on all this period of time. So it was taking a full year for all this to take place, just the flood after the boat was loaded. Now, think about an elephant, okay, or a giraffe, okay? How big did the door need to be?
About like the double doors of a warehouse, maybe.
And tall,
Mhm.
because we got a giraffe's neck. I don't know when a giraffe's neck got that long. I don't know if it always was. I don't know. But it says somewhere in here, it says that the Lord closed the door.
Yeah.
I don't see it, but the Lord closed the door.
Yeah, I remember reading that somewhere.
If the Lord didn't close the door, he'd also had to make enough pulleys to make it doable. You can increase the pull on a pulley by having two pulleys and making it twice, or three pulleys. You're increasing the tension there. You're increasing the ability, how much you can pull with it. One person can pull a tractor trailer if you got enough pulleys out there, and he's strong enough to pick up the rope. That's the problem, is man ain't big enough to pick up the rope with all them pulleys on it.
He closed the door. It's chapter 7, verse 16.
16, thank you. As God commanded, the Lord shut him in. The Lord shut him in. Now, you remember this boat was made, and then he told him to put pitch on it. So he put pitch, which is a type of tar, a petroleum product.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A petroleum product on the seams on the boat. Now, who sealed the door?
God did.
God did. He said the Lord shut the door. If the Lord shut the door, he shut the door.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. But what I'm saying is all the rest of the seams in the boat had to be sealed with pitch.
The top wouldn't necessarily have to be those.
What's on the side?
It was submerged.
Yeah, just this.
But the door had to be on the side of the boat.
Yeah.
The door had to be on the side of the
Yeah.
boat in order for for the animals to get in. They didn't jump.
so God would have had to seal the door then,
Yeah. So God did that. Now, Noah did what God told him to do. Now, today, in today's world, how long would it take you to get enough permits to do this?
Oh,
Really, do you think that the city of Statesboro or the county of Bullock would give you a building permit to build an ark, even though God directed it?
I think I need to keep my mouth shut about Bullock County and Statesboro politics.
Might be a good idea, but anyhow, I built a shed, built a room. We built a room. I didn't build it. I didn't even nail a board together, okay? I didn't do nothing except for chase down, permits and stuff like this,
We'll
okay?
say to Spain.
We went to Spain actually while it got started, but we built a room. And they charged me, I'm gonna go from memory, but it was like $1 per square foot of the room. What was the room gonna be for a permit?
Bullock County, City of Statesboro goes far and above board, or even the county does, goes far and above board over what's needed.
I agree. But,
That's all
Permitting
we will.
process is primarily a money raising thing. It's much more about that than it is to preserve.
all licenses, all permits are issued by the government to control people and raise money.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Idiots.
What? What? Share with the rest of us.
Are you sure? I said, otherwise I think they're all village idiots.
Well, we elected them, so that tells us something about us too.
Yeah.
Not in the city of Statesboro, we didn't if we don't live in the city.
Right? They won't even let me vote on them idiots. But anyway,
Okay.
anyway,
Back to-
back to the lesson. Noah took
No
these,
politics.
yeah, Noah took these here on there and his kids, and they loaded the boat and they got it all done. Now, God is so active in these two chapters that, but it doesn't even mention him except for he closed the door. The whole thing is all God. Noah, where did he get a blueprint to build an ark?
God had to give it to him. God laid out to him what he was supposed to build.
He did. He told him how long and,
How long, how many
How
feet,
tall?
tell me how tall, yeah.
but he still had to figure out the rooms and, putting the boards together. It doesn't give us all that, but God was so active in this here and it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't tell a lot about how long.
I believe he told Noah what size each room needed to be and who was gonna go where.
All right, is there anybody in here 100 years old?
I
Huh?
feel like it.
You? Carol said she was. She's getting close. Okay, Noah's 600.
Mhm.
Okay, and he's got to cut all this wood, him and his boys. How many of y'all have sons? All right, that's a lot of challenge to get them boys to do that much work. At least in my family it is. But because God spoke to Noah, not to his sons.
Right.
Okay. So God is really active in this chapter. God is just as active in today's world. He's just as active in
Yeah.
today's world.
He sure is.
And so when we think about that, God is real active. He sent them the animals. Who named the animals? Adam named the animals and pass it on down to come all the way down because they had to tell us. Now, where's the dinosaurs? They don't talk about them. But then again, it didn't talk about the platypus. And it doesn't name
It's just
them.
that clean and unclean animals
Right.
and birds.
And how many fish died in this here event?
Only God knows that.
They need him
Huh?
because they live in the water.
They live in the water. I
Well,
don't think any of them
yeah.
died. Because it talks about the animals on the shore.
Yeah.
So not every living thing died, just every living thing that
It's on
breathed
the earth.
air.
You think that
Yeah,
all the
there,
water's
yeah.
still in?
No, not necessarily, because whales live in water, but they breathe air.
But he could swim up and get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything that lived on the land and breathed air
Yeah.
died except for these 8
Sure.
people.
Because the water was deep enough, it covered the mountains.
Yeah.
So they were still air above it, so.
About 45 feet, 15 cubits.
So that's what saved them. So anyway, God was very active in this here flood and it lasted a year and it destroyed every living thing from the earth. Then the ark rested. Now, they hadn't been able to find this here Mount Ararat. There's all kinds of claims that it's here and it's there and it's over there, okay? I hear claims every day. We was talking about that on the way to church, of somebody making claims about mind reading. Okay, they have this here, seventh sense that they can know what you're doing. No, they have intuition and they know how you act and they know what's probably coming out of your mouth. Okay, yeah, I know his history, so he's probably thinking about motorcycles or evil or, whatever. But I don't believe that, I believe it's intuition. But the thing of it is God has created this here. Where's Satan in all this? Where's Satan in all this?
He's not mentioned.
Okay,
He's there though.
But in all of
Prince
this,
of
God was in
power of the
control
air.
of all
Huh?
this.
He's the prince and the power of the air.
So you think he's like living suspended while all this is going on?
he's not suspended. He's still going to and fro. He's an angel, so a fallen angel, so he doesn't need to be walking on the land. He's prince of the air. Okay, so he's still on the face of the earth,
So he can go anywhere.
and he's probably all through this was tempting Noah and his family,
Trying to.
or trying to. The temptations are there. I mean, I can ride by a steakhouse and be tempted. That don't mean I got it, but I haven't stopped at a steakhouse in how long?
I don't know, sometimes I'm not with you, so I've
Most of the time, when's the last time we've been to a steakhouse? Long time.
been well,
Been a long time. We've been to a steakhouse about 3 times in our marriage.
probably.
So,
Us too, because we don't eat a lot of red meat.
well, we do. I eat red meat almost daily. But anyway, the temptations were still there. Don't think for a minute, because God is this active, that Satan is gone. Satan was still there and he was still trying to tempt them.
He was waiting for his turn because God was in control of it all.
Right, God was in control. Go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking about why couldn't have Satan just made one mistake and just slipped and drowned in the flood waters?
Okay, but all of them drowned. Now,
Then who would you say was guilty of all your dirty doings?
God still would have sent his son, but
If the devil was dead, you couldn't say the devil made me do it.
oh, save this conversation for home. Save this conversation for home.
Brother Harold, I wasn't gonna open my mouth.
I'm just gonna. Whoop, the devil made me do it. Isn't that word Flip Wilson?
That was Flip Will.
Yeah, the devil made me do it. No, the devil didn't make you. He might have encouraged you, but you've done it on your own. Can't blame it on the devil. What else was I gonna talk about in here?
I think we got sidetracked.
That's a strange thing. The devil really had no power.
He only has power if we give it to him, is the way I look at it.
You've got to give him.
14. Okay. On this here ark, once the water subsided and the dove didn't come back, what did he do? He waited another week. And the second month, the 27th day, the month of the earth was dried. Because not only did we have a flood, but we had mud everywhere. Have any of y'all ever been in the area where there was a flood recently? The mud is everywhere, in the streets, the mud is in the way of everything. And over time, that too dries out, and now you have soil. Now, it can be good soil or bad soil based on where it was run off from. If it's around some of these mines, you could have bad soil.
Yeah.
There was a point in time, I don't know that it's still done, where they used water cannons to blow the sand away to do mining. And then let the sand run down and over sluices and whatever to to do mining. I don't think they do that anymore. But they destroyed a lot of land because if there was other things in the soil, it also washed down into the usable land. But this here, once they dried, it says here in the earth was dried in 14, then 15 comes about. God spoke to Noah, go out of the ark, you and your wife, your sons and your wives with you, bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds, cattle, and all the creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that you may abound on the earth. Be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah and his, all of them went out. All the animals went out. Obviously, it didn't stop on the top of a mountain because that had gone down the mountain. And not all animals are capable of mountain climbing. But God, like, once again, God was in it, and they had to be into an area. They didn't end up in the Sahara Desert because there wouldn't have been food for all these critters. They ended up somewhere where the food was available for the
They don't
animals.
back a leaf off of a tree,
Yeah.
so.
So, but what I'm saying is I don't know where the boat landed. It says Mount Ararat. There's mountains that are big, there's mountains that are short. There's mountains that are steep and there are mountains that are not so steep. All I know is God was active no matter where it landed. God provided what was needed for that.
And we really don't know where Mount Ararat is.
Nope. Now, if you read the National Enquirer, they'll tell you it's over here and over there and over there.
I've heard it was in Turkey, but I didn't.
Say, I've heard of Turkey several times.
I've heard it was in Turkey several times, but
Oh, yeah. There's two in Turkey.
One thing I've always been curious about though,
Mount Ararat,
Yeah,
in all that period of time
there's
that they were on the ark,
the identification.
animals did not breathe.
Change over to you.
But
Breed? Yes, they did breed.
but that might not be the one.
So there was so much of crowding on that ark.
They were over there over a year,
Huh?
There had to have been a great deal of crowding on that.
6 months.
I do believe that the animals were close in, there was close quarters. But did they breed on the boat? No, I don't think they breeded on the boat because the
And
numbers come
over
out.
a year.
Huh?
And
And over a
over-
year. God was in control.
Cause we don't know where.
I think he satisfied the urges of all, because otherwise they'd had enough manure that 7 people couldn't shovel. Okay? And so I mean, I have.
God had a good sanitation system. He might also had a good fertilization system. It just shit went all over the world. I guess he was fertilizing everything so it grew good, whatever the woman asked.
So I believe that's another case where God was in control, and just like he didn't let the sandals of the
Yeah.
Israelites were out in the 40 years of the desert, he took care of all their urges for this year, both eating and exhaust, both breeding and all this. I don't believe any breeding,
But they don't tell us exactly how many came out of the ark either.
all of them.
All of them, but what was the total? No, he doesn't give a total number other than to say all of them.
Right.
All of them that were on. So why would there not have possibly been newborns?
I don't believe there was.
The way I look at
Wasn't
it,
room for them.
well, the way I look at it is maybe he had a lot of them hibernate like bears do.
I don't know, but God was
I
in
mean, just
control.
a-
That's all I
a
can tell you.
thought.
Looking at the size of the ship in a year's time, I don't believe that, I believe God was in control of all that, and he managed that for them, just like he closed the door and he made the rain. I believe that God was in control. It doesn't say specifically, so all I can say is I believe that God was in God is in full control of this church if we'll let him and we'll allow him.
Mhm.
He could make this the biggest church in the state of Georgia if we'll obey him. If we'll obey him. But we have to obey him.
Or if it's something that he feels should
And
be done.
Right. If he, and if it's his will, well, it was his will that these lived. And got out, and then was told to go and multiply and fill the earth. He didn't
Right.
tell him to go on the boat and multiply. He told him to go on the earth and multiply.
Right.
So I believe that the Lord handled all that. We didn't have to. So,
Still,
All planted, Paul's water.
so
Who gives the increase?
Who gives the what?
Who gives the increase?
of what?
Paul plants, Apollos water. God gives the increase.
right.
He took a right turn from our conversation, I think.
I was gonna say, I got you lost me. I'm like, okay, wait.
You're not reading.
It's a different statement.
This ark is just as good an example of the church and what the church does for people. The church is a protection from the evils of this world. If you're in church and doing what you're supposed to in church, it protects you from outside
And that's your
influences.
point, the ark being a church, for those, everything to be protected in God's way.
How many people you think were on the earth the day after they got off the ship?
Hey,
How many you think was on the earth 1,000 years later? So God's church restarted with 8 people, one family that came together, and they were sinners too, because we're going to talk about that next week. They were sinners too. They got Noah followed God's orders there and saved mankind, but they're still sinners. All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, and we're going to read about that in the next chapter. But we're out of time. So has anybody got anything else they'd like to add or ask?
I still think God could have left all the aggravating flies and gnats